Hi guys, you're welcome again to my channel and I hope everyone is doing well. Okay, straight to today's video. Now, I've had this question several times and I thought, okay, I'll just do a video to address it. Actually, this wasn't the video I wanted to post, but I said, okay, I'll do this one and now to address this question because I've had about 3 or 4 of these questions now. So I said to address it and then afterwards I will get on with other things I need to do. So the question was, how can you manage your family and children, basically your family life, if you've got young children and you are a teacher in the UK? Okay. Now, I'll be speaking from my own experience as a mother. And please, if you are out there and as a mother and you've done something else and you're a teacher and you've done something else that has worked for you and your family, please can you share in the description box to help people out there who are asking these questions again and again. Now, what do you do or how can you cope with your family life, drop off, especially your drop off and pick up for school for your children and all of that? Now, I'm just going to go back to the beginning, to the basics, okay? Now, teaching in the UK, the doors open at 8:40. Now, this is primary. Secondary might be different. I'm speaking from my own primary school experience. So schools open at 8:40. The doors open at 8:40 in the morning. But when I say the doors open at 8:40, this is for the children. The teachers sometimes are there as early as 7 o'clock in the morning. And I think I've explained this in one of my videos because you need to go early now to prepare your day. If you've got early morning work, print that out. If you've got to set up your classroom, you've got to put everything in order to begin your day, because after that there's hardly any chunk of time for you to do that in the day. It's just going to be like a roller coaster, one thing after the other, one thing after the other. So we tend to go in very early in the morning. Now, I am sometimes there 7:30 in the morning, okay? And then you prepare and the children start coming into school at 8:40 a.m. Now, school finishes at 3:15. Some schools 3 o'clock, and other schools 3:15, and some even 3:20 in the afternoon. And that's when the children go home. Now, when the children go home, sometimes you stay back, you're marking, you're preparing for the next lesson, you are tidying up the classroom, you are printing out stuff ready for the next day, and all of this. Now, sometimes even the marking alone, you might be there till about 5 p.m., 6 p.m. There are days when I have left 7 p.m. Now, if you've got young children, how can you do this? What do you need to do to balance the equation? Because, of course, your young children need to go to school and also you need to go to work. How do you do this? Now, my own experience, I have 3 children. And when my older two I've got 6 years gap between my middle child and my last child, 6.5 years gap between both of them. So when the other two were older, I worked from a different school to them. So I worked in another school and they went to school in another place. This was a big challenge. I'm not going to lie to you. This was a very, very big challenge for me. And because I have to be at school 7:30. So where do I drop my children? Where do I keep them? And all of that. How do I pick them? If they finish at 3:15, how do I pick them up? So these were things that were quite difficult for me to manage. Now, my husband, yes, is there, but also he's got his own work and he tends to travel a lot. So that still leaves me with the children. So what do I do? Now, it was a big challenge, as I said. It was a really big challenge. All I had to do is, if you have family around who can help you, maybe mother, brother, sister, who can help you, then that's what you need to do. You need to call on people to help you. In my own case, I had friends who I relied on to help me, especially to drop my children off in the morning. Now, sometimes you can put them, you can put them for breakfast club. So breakfast club starts 8 o'clock in the morning, but in this case, I have to be at work at 7:30. So breakfast club wouldn't start till 8. Now, if you work in the same school with them, perfect, you can all go together, which is the case now with my last child. I work in the same school as her, so we go together and we come back together. So that one is easy for me to manage. But when I had the other two who were in different schools and I was in another school, I had to rely on friends. So basically what I would do is I would drop them off at a friend's. Now, this can be an arrangement, a paid arrangement, or if it's family, free. If it's not family, you might have to offer some payment, okay? Because this is what you're going to be doing from Monday to Friday, 5 days in a week. And to be honest, it's a lot, okay? If you've got 3 children, it is a lot. Now, I made arrangements with friends who were kind enough to do this for me for free, okay? So I would drop them at my friends in the morning at 7 o'clock, and then I will drive back to school and then go to school and then aim for school for 7:30. Now, because it was too early, I couldn't put them in breakfast club. So that's why I had to speak to a friend, rely on a friend to help me. Now, if you've got another parent, maybe who lives nearby on the same street and goes to the same school with you, you can also have a conversation with them. You can talk to them. As I said, you can arrange payment. That is why I said it's always a good idea to develop friendships in whatever school your children go to, because you can never tell when you rely on those friendships. So spend time, develop friendships, get to interact with the mothers, go for their get-togethers, go for school activities, meet people, chat with people, interact with them, because this is how you build relationships that might be needful and helpful to you later on in the future. So, and then in the afternoon when they finish school, now you have more options. So they can do after school clubs. So some after school clubs run straight when school finishes. So they start at 3:15 or 3:20. So they can go for after school clubs, and then some of these clubs finish 4:30, some finish 5 o'clock, some finish 5:30, depending. Okay, it all depends on the type of club it is. So my own school, the school where my children went to, they offered something called Smash. So it's an after-school club for children whose parents work late. So of course it's paid; it wasn't free. So you will pay for after-school per child. So they had the option of till 5 o'clock or till 5:30. So depending on the one you want, you pay for them to go there. So you pay. So after school for me was easy to manage, but again, sometimes I'm in school to 6 o'clock. Now, because I had a good relationship with the school, the head teacher and everything, sometimes they will hang on to my children. The head teacher will hang on to my children for me before I get there. Sometimes I also relied on parents to pick them up and then take them home, and then I'll go and pick them up from the parents' house whenever I am done in the evening. So this is quite a lot, especially if you're relying on friends. It is a lot. So I would say, and thankfully, the friends I had around me, and I still have to today, are very wonderful parents. They are very, very wonderful parents and understanding, because they understand the situation. So they are more than willing to help me out. And as I said, I've seen parents who've made paid arrangements, or you can get a childminder or a nanny to look after them at home. So somebody who, at some point, I also had that, somebody who will drop them and pick them and then stay at home with them until I get back from school. But again, these are not cheap. Okay, so these childminders are not cheap. They are very, very expensive. So it depends on how much you're willing to pay for that. Again, if you've got family back home that you can bring to help you, maybe as a visitor, they come and then they stay for 5 months, they help you, then they go, they come back. That's another option that you can consider. If you've got family and you're with them, they're willing to relocate to come live near you in the UK already, they're willing to come live near you, then you can do that. Now, this is for primary age. As I said, remember, I've got 3 children, and there's 6.5 gap between my middle and my last one. So when my other 2 went to secondary, they go to school themselves. In the UK, because schools are done usually via catchment, the schools are usually close to your house. So my older 2, they cycle to school by themselves. So therefore, I'm not really bothered about childcare for them. They have their own keys, so they go and then they come back from school themselves. Of course, I know what time they leave and I know what time they come back. And if I haven't seen them by that time, I am calling them to find out where they are. They have their phones, so I can reach them. So the challenge more is for primary school, or maybe if it's secondary and you live far away from the school, then again that will be a challenge. But for secondary, they can take a bus. So I've seen lots of secondary school children who take buses to go home and come back themselves, and they have their key and they can get in when they get home. So your challenge will be mainly primary. And of course, primary is between 4 years old to 11 years old. So this will be your challenging time. Now, if you've got a partner who can help, fair enough, fantastic. Now you two can arrange your timetables. So you know that if your partner, I mean, the UK, they are very flexible. When you've got children, your employer can be flexible with you. So they might say on certain days, if your partner works a 9-to-5 job, they might say, okay, you might speak to your employer and say, look, I'm really struggling with childcare for my children because my wife is a teacher. They will understand. So maybe they might offer you, okay, if it's a job that starts at 9 o'clock, they might offer you, okay, on certain days you start at 8 o'clock and then you finish at 2:30, so you can go pick your children from school. And then so for some days you might work a longer shift and you might work a shorter shift to cover up your hours. So they might say instead of 9 to 5 today, you do 8:30 to 2:30 for 2 days in a week, and then for the 3 days in a week you do 9 to 6 o'clock or 9 to 6:30 to be able to cover up those extra hours that they give to you to go pick your children. So if you're able to strike a deal with your employer, they are usually very understanding when it comes to children. Lots of employer will understand and will be able to give you some time to factor in ways that you can pick your children, because of course they don't want your children to be stranded. So they're usually understanding. Don't quote me, but they are usually understanding. Okay, so speak to them. So if they're able to give you 2 days where you can pick your children, then you know you are struggling with 3 days. Then your wife can decide to put them on after school clubs, or you can rely on friends, or you can do breakfast club, or you can do after school club. You can now factor in things to help for those days that you are struggling. But if not, then you have 5 days in a week. Then you have to really think deeply what you can do, because it's not an easy job to balance when you've got young children who are of school age and you're also teaching. It can be very tricky. And for me, this was one of the reasons why I took a career break, because at that time I had my little one, and my little one was always the first to be dropped off at nursery at 7:30. I'm waiting for the doors to open and I drop her off, and sometimes I pick at 6 p.m. and I thought it was just too much for a 9-year-old. And then I was running around town, drop this one, drop that one, pick this one. It was just too much for me to manage. Now, on the days when my husband is around, he would do some of the drop-offs and pick up. But for my husband, who travels a lot, it was just too much for me to manage with the children, drop off, pick up there, here, there. And that's one of the reasons why I said, okay, since my little daughter is quite little, and she's spending too much hours in nursery, so I decided to take a career break, go do something else that offered me that flexibility to look after my children and my family and my young child. And then when she was of school age, I went back to my teaching career. So I hope this has been helpful for you. If you've got any, as I said, if anybody has got any other method, any other thing that they've done that helped, or that helped them balance the equation with teaching and drop off and pick up of children or family, please share. As I said, balancing teaching job, I have said this several times in my videos, balancing a full-time teaching job and a family is not easy. It is very, very tricky, especially when you do this full-time 5 days a week. It is very, very tricky because you've got long hours, there's lots of planning, there is you've got family to look after, you've got children to help with their homework, you've got cooking, you've got cleaning, it is a lot. That's why I keep saying, if it's not your passion, do not go into the profession, because maybe it's a way for you to relocate, or it's a way for you to earn money. You will be out in a jiffy, because it is a very, very tasking career, especially if you have young children. I have seen a lot of teachers who when they started having a family, they quit the job and do something else. And then when their children are old enough, maybe gone into secondary school, then they come back to the profession, because it is not easy. It is not easy at all. So I hope this has helped answered your question. If you got any other thing that you maybe question that's attached to this that you need to find a bit more, please leave a comment in the comment section below and I will attend to them. Okay, have a wonderful evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you are. Please do not forget to like, subscribe, share my videos, and engage with the videos, because then I can get to see hear from you, hear your questions, see your views, see what you like and what you don't like, what kind of content that you don't like. So looking forward to seeing you again. Have a fantastic evening and I will see you soon. Bye.